Welcome to another CollectionDX review. I'm Andrew, and I'm looking at the new MP-22 Ultra Magnus Masterpiece figure. So, just to get some basics out of the way, he is a really big toy. In fact, I'm just going to get my little ruler out here. He's well over a foot tall. He is not the largest Masterpiece figure because MP-01 still has that distinction, and of course the previous Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, just the big white Optimus Prime. But still, he's quite cool. He just looks gorgeous. He's got that great cartoon look to him. The colors are excellent. The sculpt is amazing. They just put in all these little details from the show, like his particular belt, the way they kind of rendered his chest thing in the show, and a lot of other things that just kind of work really well on this toy. Even little details like he's got fake wheels based on the animation model right down there, and we'll get to those in a minute. And his very interesting transformation actually gave him a red backplate, like in the series. That's pretty amazing because if you've watched the show, his white cab actually turns into a red block as he transforms. So, as I'm picking up, you might notice he's got weight. He's definitely got some die cast in him. Most notably, it's these big parts used for his feet here, and also the entire core of his upper body. So, he really feels good, he looks great, and I'm just really happy with him, just to get that out there right now. Alright, so let's take a look at his articulation. So Ultra Magnus might not be the most posable of all the Masterpiece figures. He still has a good range of motion, and I think he carries his weight very well. He's very sturdy. Starting off, you've got this free-moving outward hip motion, nice and stiff. And as you move his legs out, you can actually bring his ankles down to get into a nice proper A stance. And thanks to his weight, he can basically stand up no matter what you do with him. I've actually found he's pretty good at doing like walking poses, because he's actually got nice ratchets in his hips and nice ones in his knees. So you can basically get him like up like this on one foot, get his arms moving around, and you can kind of see they just got basic swivel joints up here. Oh, I'm walking on Ultra Magnus. Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty good. And as you notice, as I'm moving his hips, these little things on the side actually move in and out to give him some space to move everything. And you probably saw before, he does have this little bit of skirt armor on the back. It just flips up if you don't like it. But it is supposedly to be like in the cartoon, it's just a little bit bigger rendered on this figure. Alright, so let's kind of look at his upper body for a bit. He's got a very nice free-moving head. He can look up and down. His arms are great. There's actually part of the transformation joint that you kind of use when you're moving his arms, if you want to like move them like this or like that. Because it gives you access to an actual like click joint that actually goes in like that or out like that. So you just kind of push it back and it looks a lot better like that. Some people complain, it's like, well, you can see like this little tiny joint in here, but you know, it's really just like you pose it and then you push it back in and then it's gone. So like that, it's okay. The little missiles can move up and down, so that's pretty cool. He's got nice ratcheted elbow joint, bicep swivel, and he does have a ball jointed wrist and moving hands. Or moving fingers, I should say. And it is similar to like the Masterpiece Optimus Prime, where he's got the moving chunk of 3 fingers and then 1 index finger. He doesn't actually have the tiny little joint in the tip of his index finger, so he can't really point completely outwards, but still, it's pretty good. So yeah, he's got presence. He just feels good when you're posing him, all these joints that click. He doesn't have a waist joint because the core of his upper body is die cast. It's actually basically one big plate of metal, And the way he transforms, it'd be difficult to get an actual joint in here because of how the entire cab is folded up in his back. But other than that, you know, he's just kind of great, very natural looking, and he just has that great, I mean, amazing cartoon look. You know, I'd never seen an Ultra Magnus figure with this kind of great, I keep saying great, this kind of perfect, like, animated look, and I just love it. I'm absolutely satisfied with the way this figure just feels and has that Ultra Magnus presence to him. So I'm just going to do a couple of fun comparisons to other figures. So if you're like me and you're a big fan of Transformers the movie and the subsequent season of the TV show, you're probably going to want Magnus to pal around with Masterpiece Rodimus Prime or Rodimus Convoy. And you can say they look very good together. They both have the bright cartoony colors on them. Ultra Magnus is bigger than he is usually depicted in the TV show and in the scale chart, but I think it works okay. It works fine with Ultra Magnus because he's a big guy. You know, he's just very bulky and large, and he doesn't feel out of place being a couple heads taller than Rodimus here. And of course, because he's bigger than Rodimus, that means he's also bigger than Masterpiece MP-10 Optimus Prime. And you know, some of that is just because this guy actually has to have the entire cab of the truck mode in his chest. So basically all the red bits, you know, in Optimus are in here somewhere. Not actually in there as far as like there's a white Optimus in here. This is an all-in-one transformation. He is just Ultra Magnus. There is no Prime or anything like that in the old G1 toy. And speaking of Generation 1, oops. Let's get the old G1 Ultra Magnus out for a little comparison. So yeah, he's still pretty big, even compared to the larger figures from G1. And you can see how the Masterpiece takes the weird extrapolated details from the cartoon version that came originally from the toy and reproduces them faithfully, like the way that this thing became his chest plate here, the way the little holes for the windows for the cab robot are now these like red clear windows here. Lots of weird stuff like that, and obviously how he was colored differently in the cartoon. And to kind of bring an interesting comparison, I don't know how people are doing this, but here's the titanium figure, which, as you recall, this is the first all-in-one transforming Ultra Magnus, although this was actually made by Hasbro's Galoob division as part of like the Titanium series, like Micro Machines. So yeah, this guy is pretty G1-y. He's basically G1-y, I should say, even though he's not really marked as such. So yeah, here's the 3 transforming official Ultra Magnus toys that are not white Optimus Primes. They look good together, and it's nice to see how everything kind of went in the direction where it was becoming more like the cartoon with the darker blue, different red, and more of the animated details on it. So yeah, it's cool to see them together. Alright, so I'm going to take a look at some of Ultra Magnus' accessories because they actually need bits from other toys to do everything. So Ultra Magnus' most basic accessory is his Super Blaster gun, which is styled like it is in the cartoon and is also kind of a purplish gray color, again like the TV show. Although it does still have bits carried over from the original toy version, like the tiny little handle here, which is actually where you plug it into the white Optimus Prime robot and stuff like that. Pretty basic how it goes into his hand. There's just a tab right on the handle, which is white for some reason. And then it just kind of fits into his hand like that. Goes in and out pretty easily. And again, looks pretty cool. I like it. Alright. And now I'm going to take a look at some of his interesting built-in gimmicks. Actually, I should just talk quickly about his missile launchers here, his only other weapon. So you probably noticed when I was spinning this guy around, I have a piece missing. There's supposed to be a cap on the end of this missile launcher, and unfortunately I couldn't get a replacement from where I bought it from, but I'm taking steps to correct this problem. And to be honest, it's such a non-vital part, I don't really care right now because this toy is, again, amazing. Just let me show you that both the missiles can be taken out of the launcher, and they actually have all the detail like they should launch, but there's no mechanism in there because, yeah, collectors don't want that, I guess. Got into a fun conversation with Josh about that. So anyway, let's look into some of his built-in gimmicks then. So his head has a cool gimmick going on where you can pull off basically the front and I'll take his face with him. And inside there is a little white Optimus Prime head, styled after the original toy, oddly enough, although without the red eyes. And yeah, it's kind of a cool little Easter egg that you're going to see every time you do this. And yeah, I like it. It's a nice acknowledgement of how the original toy worked, although again, there is no white Optimus Prime in this thing. So what you do to actually change out his little silver faceplate here is you just kind of pop it off, and there's a little loop on the end that just goes on a peg in the back. And over on the back side here, there's actually a storage area for extra faces. There's actually 2 pegs on the storage area. So if you wanted to just have the weird white Optimus Prime face poking out the entire time, you can still have both faces stored. So here he is with the screaming face, as the instructions call it, and he's looking kind of angry and mad. And again, cool thing about the fact that you can put like both of these back here. I did a little bit of research, and the Masterpiece guidebook does show that they're going to have a total of 4 faces for this toy. The other 2 are just going to be the same expression, but with like bigger aviator shade style eyes on him. So unfortunately, they didn't make it to the final production, but I thought that was kind of cool they were even thinking about doing that. And also, these horns right here, these are die-cast metal, which is a good idea because if he fell over, they will not break. So that's pretty good. Alright, now I'm going to take a look at all the special stuff going on inside his chest, because there's a lot of neat things in here. And so for those out there who want to create the glorious 20 minutes or so that Ultra Magnus carried the Matrix of Leadership, all you have to do is grab the little die-cast one that came with MP-10, and you can stick it in his chest. And the mechanism, the way it opens up, is actually pretty much exact to the way it worked in the movie, with these big panels coming out here. And there's all this sculpted detail in the interior. And it looks very nice. My only complaint is that they did everything that's in the movie, but it's not painted, so you can't see little lights or anything like that. It's all there, but it isn't picked out. Then again, they didn't do that with MP-10 either, so I guess they're just not going to do that. And you just take the tiny MP-10 matrix and just pop it in there. There we go. Until the day when all are one. One cool thing is I can actually see the matrix inside there, and it looks very good. It looks like it belongs there. I do love the red chest windows, because again, that is very classy and movie accurate. So yeah. There's another thing you can do with the matrix as well, and I'm just going to set that up to show it to you without me futzing about with it. So if you want to show Ultra Magnus intending to make the matrix open, damn it, open, he comes with a couple of extra hands that are actually made of soft plastic and have a slot in them so he can get his arms up and actually grab the matrix without having to fit around his big chunky fingers. So, and that's kind of where the whole like ball jointed wrist thing comes in, so you can just swap them out fairly easily. And just let me show you how this works. There's just basically just a slot in there. And again, soft plastic, so it's pretty easy to just wedge these in there. And then you just got Ultra Magnus screaming, "Oh no, let's get that PG rating." PG-13 actually. Yeah, anyway, so pretty cool effect. Works quite well. And it always looks weird when you have Ultra Magnus posing his arms with the stacks going down. But they look weird in the cartoon, so whatever. Anyways, let's get into the main event with the transformation. So Ultra Magnus's transformation is really clever and just fun to do. And shows a lot of ingenuity with how they managed to incorporate the cab into his overall form. So to start off, we're going to spin him around, as he would do in the cartoon, and disengage these big panels that his arms are on. And then you slide his head backwards, which actually unlocks the chest plate. There's basically a little white thing that moves in to lock it for robot mode and goes back for vehicle mode. So this whole part here starts to come up, and you can also start to unlock the sides of his chest here, the back area. And these are actually plugged into his wheels. There's a pair that goes right into the axle of the wheel, and the hub, or whatever you call it. Anyway, so you just kind of pull these out, just get this little thing to disengage, and pull them out as far as they're going to go, and you just bring them down like this, and you can see here we've got the sides of the cab. And this whole thing is going to hinge up and out, and you just grab this, and it's on a double hinge, and it's just going to come forward. This whole front area here. For some reason, I always like grab this thing, which actually prevents it from going forward. These are the seats that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So this is in place, and we'll just stick these in, and there's a pair of tabs that go into slots in the front of the cab to get it all locked together. Yeah, I'm always making this look more difficult than it actually is because I'm bent over the camera right now. But anyway, so got all this in place, and you basically just bring the whole back area up, and you start to fit this all together. And I forgot one thing, you gotta pop that little door open where his face is stored, so he can actually look at himself as he's transforming. Yeah, so you just bring this whole thing up, and try keeping it in shot, and you can see this is all just going to tab together. You can bring smokestacks up. There's also his little rear view mirrors, but I'll just show you one for now. So, and they just flip out just like on MP-10. I'm going to leave that down for now so I don't accidentally whack them. And his wheels here, they just fold out 90 degrees. They actually snap in place in a way that puts a tab right through the bottom of the truck here, and actually attaches into his chest so that the cab will not move in robot mode. But he does have, you can kind of see here, he actually does have an articulated hitch, so that's how that works. So here we go, he's got his little cab right there, and now this is the part where I have to readjust the camera so I can show you the rest of it. So here's where we see a bunch of more neat tricks in his transformation, as he mimics the original toy, but goes in completely different ways to get to the same result. To start off, we're going to pop this little panel that's on top of his arm stacks, and you can see it just folds over and fits into a little hole that's on the side there. Now these things that the rocket launchers are on, they can just kind of spin around and rotate and stay out of the way for now. Simple as that. His forearms here, they're not actually going to extend. What they're going to do is you take the sides and you split it apart and put it forward like that. So now you've got the extended arm area, but without actually using a sliding joint. Let's do the same thing on both sides here. And also I'm going to flip up his little waist piece right here. So, and as I do this, I can just point out again that this all right here, that's die-cast metal. This whole red part, and also the front part of his groin right here. So That's probably the reason why there isn't a waist joint here, just so this is all nice and secure and sturdy with one solid die cast piece. Okay. So his shoulders are actually going to move up and out on the transformation joint, happily avoiding the problem that the titanium figure had, where his shoulders ended up being like miles away where they needed to be in robot mode. And to actually extend his arms, they don't actually have a sliding joint again. What you're going to do is disengage a little lock right here, and this just comes out like this. There you go. Now he has the full extended arm joint. And you just sort of flip this around, and you can just cap it off right here using the moving panel that the whole arm is on. Alright, so I'm going to do this arm and then I'll come back. So you can see there's some similarities to the G1 figure without his arms transformed, but they're taking a whole different route to get there. And the way these two peg together is you can see there's just a hole and a peg. It's going to go into a hole and a peg on this side. And also you can take his gun here and flip the handle down, and there is a peg and a tab that's going to go into the hole and slot right in the middle here. Also, if you notice, the unique arm transformation means that you can actually have the blue part in the middle of the upper deck of the car carrier mode, like in the cartoon, with actually having to have you know, color changing bits. So, and as I'm breaking this up, you just kind of line these all together, and yeah, again, it's a lot harder to do when you're like you're kind of laid out above the camera. Anyway, just kind of hold that in place. There's a couple of tabs in his forearms that come together, and another thing that brings things together is when you bring the rocket launcher back like this, there is a kind of a small slot that it goes into. It doesn't really lock in place, but it does actually kind of go in there just by friction. Okay, and to fill in this part here, there's actually a tiny panel that moves out. You just push, there's what looks like a button. It's actually just a part of the panel that helps you feed it through, and this whole thing just comes down and snaps in place. And so now we have the top part of car carrier mode. So yeah, there we go. Kind of like the old toy, but a little bit different. Alright, so now I got to work on his feet here. And there's a lot of neat stuff going on in here. So with the feet, in order to give this figure both anime accuracy and the functionality of being able to transform, you pull out these fake wheels here. This whole mechanism comes out, and it rotates, and there's the real wheels hidden inside. So that's all pretty cool there. This whole thing is going to come down just like on the old toy, but as you're doing it, you disengage this panel in the back here. And this is basically a little fold-out joint thing, and it comes up and around, and it's going to click up into place. So this gives you the room to let his feet come out, and I'll quickly just do it on the other side as well. So yeah, pretty simple. Comes out like that, and you can just tab his forearms into his feet up here. There's some clips for getting his lower legs together, and make sure when you're doing this that his knees are clicked forward slightly. Yeah, it's a little hard to kind of see it on the toy normally, but yeah, this is going to be inwards a bit. He's kind of got that very heroic robotic lean to him, where his thighs have that like downward slope to them. So anyway, let's get that all back together like it should be. Yeah, he's fairly forgiving, honestly, as far as toys go. So you got all this set up, and to lock this all together, you've got these panels here. And there's a little tab in the end that's going to go into a slot right there. And the way it works is you just want to push this over like this, and as you're pushing it inward, it puts the tab into the slot. And there's also another little peg in here that keeps everything nice and secure. So yeah, it's kind of cool that they actually engineer it so that the natural motion of the toy will help you lock it in place. But yeah, here we go. This is Ultra Magnus in car carrier mode, and you can pick him up like this. He's actually very, very sturdy like this. So anyway, let me gather some troops because he's got some stuff he can do as a car carrier. And so here we have Ultra Magnus in car carrier mode. He's big, he's chunky, he's very solid as you saw before. You can pick him up, wave him around like this, and he is fine. He's got a complete set of rubber tires, so he rolls very smoothly. And he's got the perfect look of the realistic truck cab with the goofy cartoony trailer. Just like the old toy, just like the cartoon, and you know, he just brings it to life in a very classy way. Speaking of cartoon details, before I mentioned that he's got the little blue blocks in the middle of the upper deck there, which is in the show. And another thing that was in the show that threw a lot of people for a loop is he's got a red bumper. That is cartoon accurate. And I gotta say, I didn't know I wanted this, but now I just can't live without it. It looks so good. It helps differentiate him from Optimus Prime, and it's just, you know, a neat detail to actually bring back. Again, because a lot of people even remember that he had a red bumper, but no, it's totally there all the time. So he's got most of the functionality of the original toy. He's got his little rocket launchers here, but they don't fire this time. As you saw, they do stay on during the transformation, which is cool. And thanks to this whole like joint here, you can flip them around and have them pointing right out the front, like that. Just like on the original toy and on some early animation models for the character. Again, it's got the articulated cab. It does get kind of hung up on those little skirt pieces there, so you just kind of work his tires past them. And if you flip him like this, you can see, oh my god, there's his face there. There's this little latch here. If you pop this out, you can get the cab to detach. You don't have to do this for the transformation or anything. It's just a cool detail that you can do. And you can probably see there's a pair of little figures inside of his cab. And that is basically a tiny little Spike and Daniel, and Spike just kind of came out of his seat there. But that helps because I can just pull him out like that. So yeah, this tiny little Spike from the year 2005 in his swank jumpsuit there. Similar to the figure that came with MP-10, he's got like little knees and hip joints and his arms move. So yeah, looks pretty cool. It's a neat extra. All you do with them is you just pop them onto a little peg, square peg that's in his seat. Same thing with the Daniel figure. And here we go, this little Daniel. He looks kind of weird because he's got wide hips, because they couldn't make his legs slimmer with how tiny he is. But still, he's cool, and he's got his little monogrammed jumpsuit there. Swanky fashions from the year 2005. So, let's just do this and put him back right where he is. Alright, there's a couple more things I just want to show you with this guy, and then I'll be wrapping this up soon. So as far as interactivity with other Masterpiece figures goes, he has the same functionality as the original G1 toy, where you can put cars on him. So you just flip down these little white ramps in the back, untab his forearms, and this whole thing can come down. And you can pretend to take, say, Masterpiece Wheeljack, and just like pretend that he's about to drive all the way up here. And just kind of rest him like that. One cool thing though is the top part here has a bunch of little raised portions that do keep Masterpiece cars not locked in place, but kind of set in place so they won't roll around too much. And I'm just going to get Prowl here and stick him up on there as well. And you can just bring this whole thing back up. I recall reading that it was a stated design goal for this toy that it would be able to do carry 4 Masterpiece cars. So that's kind of why he's as big as he is. And so with the back, you just pop them in and roll up your Masterpiece Sideswipe or Lambor, whatever you want to call them, and just leave them right there. And you can pop Smokescreen in there as well, and just bring these back up. And so here we are. We've got fully loaded Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, and he looks great carrying cars. I'm glad they brought this functionality back, and just kind of gives me that I'm a 10-year-old with a toy truck feeling all over again. As far as like him and Optimus are concerned, I'm just going to bring MP-10 out right here. So you can see the cabs are the same as far as details go, although the back of Optimus is a lot bigger because he has to have legs at some point. And yeah, so they look good together. I do like that they acknowledged that in the original toy these were just identical cab robots. So it's a neat idea. Because of the way these two are different though, Magnus cannot carry Prime's trailer, Prime cannot carry Magnus' trailer. Although, I am actually working on a way, just a little adapter here with Shapeways, so that Magnus can carry Optimus Prime's big gray box. They can't go back the other way because, as you saw before, he just has a basic like little peg that goes into a hole, and you're not going to get anything like that on that back here with Optimus Prime. Unless you like made a thing that goes all the way back here, so you can tow it from like behind him. So it'd be kind of weird though. Anyway, so Masterpiece Ultra Magnus is a amazing toy. I am super happy to get this guy. You know, this is kind of the Ultra Magnus that I'd always wanted for a while. Not a Prime and Art or anything like that. Just an all-in-one cartoon Ultra Magnus who can still do all the cool things that we saw the original toy do. And I don't really have any complaints other than like the kind of weird nitpicks people make about this toy. But yeah, he's just like a really great figure to have in your hand. He's fun to transform. He looks great. Really, as far as Masterpiece toys, this guy felt like a true event for the line for Transformers. So I can't recommend him enough. He's just great. So yeah, he does cost about like $200 though. Although like if you got him for pre-orders, he's running around like $140 or something like that. But yeah, love it. Absolutely love him. So thanks for watching the CollectionDX review. This has been Andrew, and I'm really looking forward to what Masterpiece has to bring next with guys like Star Saber. Oh, it's going to be great.